Good morning and welcome to the Orlando Real Estate Buzz. I'm Brendan Rendo of the Homes in Orlando team, joined as always by Joseph Dion of Apley Home Loans. Morning, Joe.
Good morning. How are you doing, champ? Ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Vacation for a couple months. Let's get out of here. Let's just forget about all the market stuff.
Next Friday. Okay. Found some interesting stuff this week that we're going to take a look at. I didn't know the U.S. Census Bureau is involved in housing numbers, but apparently they are.
Okay. The Census Bureau. Okay. Yeah. I trust these numbers. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Wait till you see their methodology. You're going to laugh. We got everyone out there now saying mortgage rates, Fannie Mae saying it, Freddie's saying it, are going to hold in that 7% range through the end of the year.
Shock of the century.
Who would have guessed?
Not us.
Know? And then you got smacked a little bit this week thanks to the U.S. Treasury throwing a ton of money out there, or a ton of debt, not money, actual debt out there. So we got that. And people still have a little bit of glimpse of hope, I think, that the Fed's going to cut rates. And I don't know why.
There's still time. It can happen.
It can happen. I mean, the entire system could crash and they're going to have to, right?
I know that you're looking at this and you're like, man, Joe's lighting is off today. No, I'm just gloom and blue. Like it's just no nothing to be excited about. It's really hard to shine through some positivity, right? Let's have some fun. Let's talk. I think I want to be an eternal optimist for a change.
Okay. Well, this one just kind of like got me because I found it extremely funny. The Census Bureau revised away 25% of the pandemic era spike of new single-family houses. So basically, they didn't go up as much as everyone thought they did. That was just your imagination.
It was just your imagination. Okay. So wait, how is it gone poof? Like, because I didn't feel like that happened.
What happened is they looked at it and they said, look at this. They actually said, oh, we screwed up and it needed to be fixed. At least someone from the federal government actually admitted they screwed up something, right? But they chopped $36,000 from the median price at the peak in October 2022. That's huge. That's like 10%. And when you look at it graphically, you come down here, the blue is the original numbers that they had, right? Mm-hmm. And this is your revised. You went from 480 to 440.
Is this like every other government-based report that gets revised back to make the new numbers not look as bad as when compared to the right? Like we're not doing any damage because we can't change what's already happened, and that's already happened. Right. But we can make the new numbers look better by saying that the old numbers were wrong.
You would never do that, Joe. You would put together a balance. You would put together a profit statement of 2022 and say you made $1 million, then revise it in 2024 and said, oh, I actually made $2 million this year. You wouldn't do that as a business to make yourself look good for a loan or anything like that, right?
No, absolutely not.
Never.
Can't
do that.
Can't do that. IRS would not like that at all.
No.
Definitely no. I couldn't make myself work worse for the IRS. Like they wouldn't like that either. Hey, actually, I was wrong. 2 years ago, I didn't make what I said I made. So can you just give me some of that money back that I paid in taxes?
I overpaid you. I want it back.
My bad.
Yeah, my bad. I screwed up. But it's amazing how all these government entities have one job. People specifically for these, and they never seem to get the numbers right. Ever.
Well,
I'm looking at this and I'm thinking
next week.
Yeah, I'm thinking kind of the same thing you're thinking is why would you go back and revise the numbers down?
Yeah.
What's so important about that number that you would revise it down? Maybe they're seeing a possible price decrease of homes coming along.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of being a 25% drop from the peak, it's only a 10% drop from the peak.
That sounds way better.
It sounds way better. You guys just don't understand the numbers. That's all it is. And you're sitting there going, like, how did you screw up all this methodology? How do you do this? In the age of technology, right? Age of technology, they use interviewing software on a laptop. Okay, I can live with that. Facsimiles of the computer-based questionnaire are provided to respondents. I know this was back in 2021, 2022. That's years ago,
Were they afraid that COVID-19 was going to cause like a Y2K like shutdown? Like what? I will say this, like, I am impressed that people still use faxes. There's a major insurance company that still uses faxes to send us insurance. And I always sit there and I'm like, how are you one of the 3 biggest insurance companies in the nation and you're still based off of faxing? It blows my mind because it's so antiquated. It's so old. It's so inaccurate. That's why. Yeah. Brendan, we didn't account for the fact that they're using faxes. It takes so long for the data to transmit itself and it for it to be compiled. And then you got to take the paper and they got to transfer it to the computer. Like it took 4 years of government work to figure this out. So they can get all the data into one system to review it.
Yeah. They couldn't create a PDF questionnaire and have you fill it out that way.
No, definitely way too hard.
It takes too long. It's way too hard. It takes way too long.
Like, I think it's crazy. Like, who was the Census Bureau polling though?
That's the other thing. Who did they? Doesn't tell you who they actually went out and polled. Did they go to home builders? Did they go to real estate companies? Did they go to title companies? Did they go to the end buyer?
Yeah. Like, I just feel like this is weird because it's like, why is the Census Bureau polling people about home values when we have all this data that is compiled about home sales that determine valuations?
Oh, you mean like in my MLS?
Wait, damn it. That's not accurate.
Have you seen that system? It's actually really cool. Really cool.
But then, like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand the methodology that they use, but it's like, hey, we use this methodology. Here's the issues that we had. And then, by the way, we had these issues and we're going to drop it down. But I feel like there was always a better, more easy way to do it, which was probably the right way to do it. But if they did it that way, they couldn't come back and revise it later on if they needed to.
That's an excellent point, because you wonder sometimes, do they do things a certain way so that, we can say I screwed up.
Yeah.
But it just, living through that, it's like, what do you mean the prices didn't explode like that? Every buyer I had, every seller I had will tell you, yeah, it was fantastic. We went through the roof. But I think again, call me the, conspiracy theorist, alternative reason to do this, which is maybe they see a projection of home prices coming down. And guess what? If I revise my numbers down government wise, I make things look not quite as bad as they're going to be. Plain and simple.
Yep. Plain and simple.
And because, what if we, here's part of the reason I think why is, what have we been saying all along, really for the past several months, that, hey, rates aren't going down, guys. Mm-hmm. They're not coming down. And if you're thinking you're going to buy a house right now and refinance in 6 months, it's not the way to think of it at all.
Yeah.
We're going to, Freddie and Fannie both said that they feel that through 2024, rates are going to stay in that 7% range.
Yep.
Which you and I both agree on. But it's not just because of inflation. Everyone's inflation. But that is not the only reason why, the only thing that's driving this. One of the main reasons is right here, is we issued a ton of debt this week, $139 billion. It was in 2-year and 5-year bond formats. And the auction was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It was horrible. And they ended up having to increase all the yields on the treasuries to get them sold.
Yep. And then they did the 7-year yesterday. Did you see the 7-year?
No, I didn't get a chance.
It sucked as well.
Who wants our debt? We've got, I mean, really, what, $35 trillion now? Oh, 34 and a half. Okay.
Close.
All right. We've got all this debt. Who wants it? I mean, if you're looking at a company with the balance sheet of the United States right now, would you invest in it? Would you buy their bonds? No.
I don't think the U.S. would buy its own bonds if it was another country. If we were looking at the bonds, like let's say Canada was selling the same thing as us, we probably wouldn't buy theirs, would we? I don't know. No.
So you had $139 billion in it, lackluster.
Yep.
Which is an understatement. Yeah. So what happens when you're issuing debt? Nobody wants to buy it. What's the only way you can get them to buy it? You have to increase the yields. Well, what does that do to us? Because here it is from 10-year Treasury. I was actually explaining this to someone the other day. Watch the 10-year Treasury. Mm-hmm. If the yield goes down, good for you. If the yield goes up, bad for you. It's really that simple.
Yep.
And you see right here, when they issued it, we spiked again. Mm-hmm. Because it affects everybody. Yep. And if we continue to issue debt at the current rate we're issuing debt, those yields are going to continue. The Fed can set the overnight rate at 0. Doesn't matter. Because if nobody wants to buy your debt, you're still selling it at 5, 6, 7, 8%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's just not inflation. It's just not what the Fed sets for an overnight rate.
Now, if the Fed set our rate to 0, it would get bought up. Let's not, it would get bought, but I'd be really worried if that happened. We'd be SOL. There'd be a lot more problems if the Fed started cutting tomorrow.
Yeah. I think before they did that, they're going to turn on the machine.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think they'll turn on the printing press, and they're going to, just like they did before, subsidize the buying of the debt. And then you got Kashkari, who's one of the heads of the Feds. He's up in Minneapolis, I believe.
Kashkari, he's awesome. I love Kashkari.
I like him.
He's the eternal pessimist on the you have so many optimists that with these members, and he's always hawkish. Like he is never positive. But you know what? He's kind of saying some of the stuff that I'm like, hey, I'm seeing this.
Yep. He's saying everything that you need to hear, but you don't want to hear. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's what we need to hear, but we don't want to hear. And he's come out flat out. He's not voting for any rate cuts anytime soon. Mm-hmm. And I bet you he's actually talking about, hey, we may need to jump this a quarter of a point.
He was one of the few that has said that we might need to increase. And what do we talk about before? We kind of mentioned this, right? Like, and I might be jumping ahead, I don't know, but you had the Fed, their unified statement comes out and is all super rosy and positive. And then you have Powell comes and he kind of follows suit on the unified statement, and he's very dovish too in certain areas, and he's kind of very careful with his words. And we don't get the truth of what they're really thinking until the minutes come out and we actually see a little bit behind the curtain. What were they actually saying? And there was talks about, well, do we need to raise the federal fund rate? Is it good where it's at? Like, and once you see that, I'm like, oh, so they aren't oblivious to everything.
No, they're not. And it comes back to, I always call it the adult in the room. Someone's got to have that harsh talk with the American people. Like, hey, it's not all, roses and rainbows right now.
Yep.
And that we're going to have to suck it up and do some stuff here that a lot of people aren't going to like.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't going to like. But if you don't want it to totally collapse, we've got to change some stuff.
Yep.
Number one is this issuance of debt has got to stop. It's got to cool. It has to. I mean, we're looking at, what are they estimating? Like 40% of the tax revenue this year is going to service the debt. That's an interest-only payment. That's not paying anything off.
Yeah.
That is an interest-only payment.
Yep.
And they've still got to roll, what was it? I forgot how many trillion, it's over $1 trillion. They've got to roll over in debt, several $1 trillion in debt this year that they've got to roll over and reissue.
Okay, good, great. Love it. Let's just keep kicking that can down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
sound fiscal policy.
Yep.
If you are watching this, do exactly what the government does. JK, just kidding. I'm not a financial advisor. It's for informational purposes only. Do not do what the government's doing and get interest-only loans and kick the can further down the road. By the way, people aren't going to write you interest-only loans at a certain point, like if you can't afford them. So I guess the positive is when you write your own.
Yep. When you write your own debt, hey, you can do anything you want. And then, we look at the forecast, going through the rest of the year. Look, we actually have some intelligent people for June. Nobody's saying there is going to be a Fed rate cut in June. Nobody. 98.9. But look at this for the first time. We actually have 1% saying they're going to increase the rate.
It's
Have
Kashkari.
not seen that. July, well, you get a few optimists out there. It wasn't you, Joe. I know it wasn't you. Saying, you got 12% saying that they think they're going to cut in July. But you still got people thinking there's a rate increase. I don't know why, but I just got a feeling something's going to break one way or the other.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling it's this way.
I don't think it's on the way down. I think they want to keep it higher for as long
as they can
as possible.
Yeah.
And I think they want to. I think they need to. I mean, I do think that right now cutting the federal fund rate is probably not the smart thing to do.
No.
Even if it gets more and more, let's just say, not fun for us that live in America. You know, that actually
we're continuing seeing a softening in the workforce market. Salesforce is taking a beating this morning because their quarterly report was actually not bad, but their projections are horrible.
Yep.
Salesforce, which ties to employment, you got people saying, hey, if we're softening our projections are softening, it means that the employment market is softening overall.
Yeah.
So you got that, and then you still got a lot of people, about half the market, saying that September is the rate cut.
Yeah. Wait, Brendan, before we go on, I just wanted to say, we talked about Salesforce, high wage job, but did you see Dollar Tree is also doing corporate layoffs? That's a concern to me.
Yeah. Yep.
if the affordable size, when everybody's stopping from going from like Target to Walmart and now Dollar Tree's having issues. Oh man.
That's problems. That's serious problems overall. So it's just, it's hanging in there. We're hanging in there. You don't like to be a pessimist. You don't. But a realist, yes. And for the next, really, I see it for probably the next 6 months to actually a year, really a year. The real estate market is going to continue to be extremely soft. And we're going to get into the Orlando numbers. And I did a quick calculation because it kind of just hit me really, really strange. Sales and everything were kind of flat. But this is what I wanted to show is currently, according to Aura, there's 6,366 homes on the market. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But look at this. At the 500,000 and above, right here.
Yep.
Active listings. There's 2,438 up from 500 to a million and 772 above a million. That is 50.4% of all homes in Orlando are above a $500,000 price point. Half the market is above the $500,000 price point.
Well, I mean, it's just because we're such a great place
half the market has the money. I don't believe 80% of the market has the money to be in that price point. So I think we're just going to continue to see grow and grow. I mean, the $1 million homes, we're currently at almost 6 months, 5.4 months of inventory, as opposed to, under 250, 1.6, 250 to 300, 2.7, 300, 400, 2.3. So this area is still a very strong market overall. But then you see here at the 400 to 500, that's when I see a lot of my clients getting stretched beyond their point of being able to purchase currently with interest rates and insurance right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of my people, the everyday person on the street, we're not going above 400,000 right now. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
It's too much of a financial strain on them.
It's the price point, the monthly payment, it becomes the issue. Mm-hmm. Interest rates are higher because home values have jumped so much. Tax rates are much higher. And then purchase price, right? Like you just take all those things into account and it's hard to I know we mentioned when you're telling clients that they could be looking at a $3,000+ mortgage payment, all in principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and they're asking, it used to be what $3,000 was going to get you
nice house,
really? But now $3,000 a month is going to get you a 1,500 square foot 3.2 that may or may not need updates.
Yeah, yep. Even the new, I mean, you really don't have any new houses in that market.
Yeah.
You may have a couple of townhomes. I mean, I can't believe when we see townhomes, new construction townhomes sitting at $450,000.
Yeah.
Who wants a townhouse at $450,000?
Yeah.
I don't. I want a yard. But I saw some interesting numbers that, what is it? Almost 80% of the people who purchased in the past couple of years are unhappy with their purchase. And I think a lot of that is sometimes they're settling with what they can get.
Yeah.
More than getting what they want. Mm-hmm. Where in the past, you had that flexibility, you had the inventory, you had, the value of purchasing that you could get, this is what I want. Hey, I want the 4.2. Want the corner lot, want a nice sized yard, and you were like, I can find that.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, I want a place to put my head.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't going to take me an hour and a half in Orlando traffic to get to work.
Yep.
If I can.
If you can. Yeah.
And it's even those are hard to find these days. So going back into the numbers, our original list to sales, which we always love to look at, still holding at that 95%. Final list to sales, that went up a little bit to about 97.
Okay.
And I think that's because we're starting to see homes priced better.
Okay.
Trevor and I were actually looking at one for him today, and it was a 4.2 over here in Apopka, Forest City area.
Okay.
Updated, new roof, new windows, completely updated on the inside. $375,000. And we both looked at each other like, that's actually reasonable today.
Yeah.
You know, that's not bad. I mean, it's shocking when you actually think 375 is not bad.
Yeah.
But overall, you know, a year ago, year and a half ago, I'm thinking 450 for that thing.
Yeah.
You know, but 375, that's actually not bad. It was like it came out to like 221 a square foot or something like that. It's like, okay, not bad. Not bad. Then we look at our inventory, and this is the other thing that's happening. It's all over Florida right now. All over Florida. And you're seeing horror stories. Cape Coral, Northport, Venice, their inventory has jumped through the roof. All these people who were moving from Chicago, New York, Pennsylvania have stopped.
Yeah.
And their new inventory, I think the total inventory was up where they had been to like 1,000 homes. They're up to nearly 4,000 homes right now.
That's a lot.
That's a huge jump. Huge jump. I mean, Orlando right now, we're up 18% since January. That's a solid jump. And you can see it's, you know, you expect it this time of year to go up, but we are taking a solid jump because you got to realize it's adding inventory and one sold. So what it's telling me is, you know, we're adding houses a lot quicker than we're selling them.
Yep.
Which, of course, again, was not the case a couple of years ago. And then this was interesting. The active foreclosure number. We took a nice little spike up to 43 active foreclosures.
Okay.
And we're starting to see more list pendants being served. More people actually going into foreclosure. Why you would allow there should be enough equity, unless you basically borrowed too much. There should be enough equity in your homes these days to be able to get out and still walk with some money. You know, I don't know why someone wouldn't look at that. I've dealt in that market a lot, and unfortunately, a lot of times you get people who are very frustrated and are like, I've got it covered. I've got it covered. I've got it covered. And it's like you get to a week before the auction, like, you got it covered? No. Okay, well, let's figure out how we can do this. You know? Yeah. But, you know, it's frustrating because you never want to see anybody lose the home. But it's also, you know, tough when you're trying to tell them something, people just get in their head that they've got it, they can handle this by themselves. Then our condo market, we're still sitting up there, you know, roughly 5 months worth of inventory overall. Same numbers, you know, roughly 95%, 94.5% original list price. And then we're up 30% on the condo market.
Yep. Same story.
Same story. But the problem with them, look at your days on market. Your days on market are up to 61. It's those dang HOA fees again.
Well, and it comes back to the insurance.
Yep.
Right? Like insurance skyrocketed, HOA fees have to go up.
Yep. And I got one I'm looking at for a client, and we're trying to stay at 1,600. And I looked back at the complex a year ago, back before January, and the HOA fees were, what were they? $260, and they jumped to $380. And that difference is is really the difference between, is it feasible for them to buy it because their daughters go to UCF, they've got 2 of them, and they pay $900 a month, so we're about $1,800. So they wanted to come in a little bit below that, and we're right on the cusp of being able to figure that out. So it's the condos are just tough overall. So that's our market this week. Thank you for being so optimistic, Joe. I really
try my best.
Appreciate the sunshine that you bring to us every week.
Just all smiles, rosy cheeks. I mean, I had to take a new leave. Like, I'm hoping that maybe being an optimist will help grow the hair back on my head. I don't know. Like, maybe I'll have, good full head of hair soon.
By next week, I think you'll be all set. Yeah. Listen, thank you everyone for joining us. As always, it's a pleasure to come to you every week. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again next Thursday. Take care.